Hello Aquarius, welcome to your June 2025 reading using the tarot. Let's begin. I want to start by pulling 3 cards just to get us started and see what energy you're entering the month of June with and what are you presently working with this month. We'll also look at the upcoming near future energies, and then throughout the reading I'll be pulling more cards as we go to go deeper with those messages. All right, let's see what we've got. Knight of Swords, busy. You have been all systems go, a lot of mental energy and fast-paced change and adaptability. The Emperor, so you're entering a month of strength and kind of stabilizing everything that you have been motivated towards doing. This is a little bit more about taking a seat, taking space. This person is sitting at their desk. You know, they're looking very professional, very respectable, and quite admired actually. Whereas this energy, of course, is a little bit more movable. Okay, we also have the Chariot energy. The Chariot has been coming up a lot in these readings, and I'm not totally surprised. We have a really kind of beneficial end to the month for the collective. We've got the summer solstice, which is really marking a time of a lot of abundance. And for the signs that I've seen the Chariot card in, it's kind of made me think of the symbol of prosperity, victory, and success. So I'm excited to get into what this may be for you. The energies at the bottom of the deck are a little bit more what you seem to be putting in your rear view mirror at this time. I mean, the Death card calls to what you're kind of tossing out or getting rid of, and it's not as easy to say, you know, just get rid of this or be done with it, but like putting an end to the suffering or the feeling of heartbreak. Maybe some of you have left a relationship, a job, a place of residence. Maybe some of you have had your heart broken, and it's not as easy to just say like, okay, close that chapter, you know, and move on, but maybe the timing has been right for you to begin that process. The 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords, well, this has been tricky, you know, this has been hurtful, hurting. This has been on some levels a little bit even under the table or shady. You know, we might look at that a little bit more in the extended reading that's just coming up at the bottom of the deck, unless of course those cards come through again. So before getting into this, let me just say that there's going to be an extended version of this reading which will be linked down below, as well as that where you find that for no extra cost. There's actually a 6-month forecast I did for Aquarius a little while ago. It's forecasted all the way up to October of 2025, so if you want to check that out too, now might be a good time. Let's get into it. The Knight of Swords, everything has been pretty much buzzing around you at the moment. You're busy, you're motivated, you're very activated, but a lot of mental energy. So you might have found yourself overthinking a lot, even overstimulated, just taking in a lot and processing and then kind of trying to piece it all together. This has been a good way for you to understand where you stand. What would you do in situation XYZ? It seems like you're running through a lot in your mind. You know, it might be a time to kind of quieten your mind now and get down to business in the month of June. This might be a time where you actually put things into action. This is quite a masculine energy in terms of like a yang expression, in terms of maybe doing something about it, making a call, making the deal, deciding, you know, calling the meeting and setting up negotiations. The Emperor is about a willingness on your part, Aquarius, to kind of say with confidence and maybe a bit of bravado, I'm here, I belong here, pull up a seat, listen to what I have to say. I have a message, I have a agenda, a purpose, and I want people to take notice. Okay, so it's very confident. I like that. The Chariot, of course, it is our motif at this moment in time for abundance. It's associated with the sign of Cancer. On June 9th, the great benefic expansive Jupiter, lucky Jupiter, is moving into the sign of its exaltation in Cancer, where we've got 13 months of Jupiter thriving. Maybe not at the very beginning, because it's got to make that square to like this Emperor card, the Aries energy, Saturn and Neptune there. Okay, we don't need to get too far into that now. If you're interested in more of the astrology, I'll touch on that in the extended. What I will say is, when I see the Chariot card emerging in these readings around June and July, I know that there is a particular importance for the sign I'm reading for in terms of expansion or a success story, or some sort of like maybe leadership role, doing something very aligned, very purposeful. Okay, so let's pull some more cards and go deeper into this reading for you, Aquarius. What if the Knight of Swords is you, and you know, it's all you're running around, all your maybe more scattered end to May, busy, a little bit all over the shop, but very eager, in fact chomping at the bit. What has your eagerness brought for you entering the month of June? What are the results of all of that running around? Two of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Oh, good job. Okay, well done. This has been very productive for you. King of Swords and the King of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. You have been teaming up with people that are really kind of good at what they do. All of this kind of like, you know, very influential energy of the Kings and the Emperor. All of the kind of very, you know, if there was some sort of a hierarchy, be it at your job or in your family structure, or I mean, there's a hierarchy in almost everything, I'm sure, whether it's the darts club, whether it's the comic book collecting club, whether it's the hospitality industry you're in, there is like a hierarchical effect. And it seems like, Aquarius, you've had certain ambition to take charge there, be the lead, or even rise to a position such as like managerial, entrepreneurial, or the lead of the team in some way. So you've been making great strides in terms of like your personal mastery, legacy, and reputation lately. The Knight of Swords with the Two of Wands and the Ace of Swords, I mean, the decisions you've been making, they've just been so like on the money, right? The Two of Wands is a little bit more like a, should I stay, should I go, should I stay rooted in the past when there's this expansive great beyond out there? But this kind of wand popping up over the head makes me think of like following your highest excitement and passion is not going to steer you too far wrong at any point. That's the thing. It's almost like with this Ace of Swords, which is so associated with like a breakthrough, an insight, a download. Oftentimes when we are working with Ace of Swords, or when it comes to us, it can feel very rewarding because it almost seems like there is no end to inspiration and insight and clarity and a breakthrough for you. And when you follow that lead, when you kind of take action on the possibilities of, you know, what's presented to you and what's in store for you, from there, it is a very rewarding sense of, okay, there's no limit to this. I think that it's Bashar, if you're familiar with that channel, or Bashar, Daryl Anka, I believe is his real name, and he channels Bashar. It's quite out there, Aquarius, but like, look who I'm talking to. I think you're going to be comfortable with that. There is a point that he seems to make around, it's either following your highest excitement or passion, and that really seems like the true road to success. Okay, so that comes from source. I think that comes from a essence that is in a, you know, working for you. Call it the universe, your highest self, whatever you may call that, like source energy. You are a conduit for that, and as that presents itself to you, which it has been so effectively lately, you've been responding to that in a way that I think you just create a waterfall effect. You know, a waterfall effect, or some sort of a catapult effect is coming through for you this June. But let's see what you're ready to kind of anchor into. The Emperor, like I said, it's a number 4, which is a bit more of a card of stability. And I think that these 4s here, which are the King of Swords and the King of Pentacles, to me, they are other people as well as yourself that want to root into something and settle down into something important to you guys together. And because of the nature of those cards, it also might be something that feels important to society right now, or to your legacy, or to your ancestry and generations to come, or just to your kind of personal story arc altogether. But yeah, things aren't going to slow down in June, but they seem to certainly be taking a bit more shape and more structure, I think. More of a, something a bit more tangible is coming through. Even if it's a tangible idea or plan or strategy, it's nice that things are falling into place, I think, now this June. I have the 8 of Pentacles and another king, the King of Cups. You're aligning with some really, you know, you're aligning with some people. No, they are pretty decent people. This is a kind of, you know, this is something we hear, like you're the product of the 5 people you hang around with. I don't know what that says about me, because I don't hang around with too many people. So, but think about that in terms of your own life. You are a product of the people. I mainly hang around with my toddler son, and he certainly vibrates at a very high frequency. So I'm happy to be in alignment with that, at least at this time. But think about who you are surrounding yourself with, those kings, the emperors, you know. These are people that you're rubbing shoulders with, in a sense. And I kind of think it's important that you're not climbing anybody else's ladder at this time, or you're not like putting on any show or pretense, and I don't think you are, but you might be just aware of people doing that, the sort of social climbing or the career climbing. Make sure it's your ladder, Aquarius, and make sure, which I think you are, that you are aligning this mission, this action that you're taking and the work you're doing to a true soul felt mission. Like, this has to make you feel in tune, and I think that you know, your inner world and your sense of self is being reflected with those around you and how they're doing. Good litmus test, I guess. So what else have we got here? I mean, the King of Cups. I think that's the passion. I think that's the true reason for doing all of this. It's because it sets you free, as well as provides possibly productivity and wealth and like true purpose, and kind of just like I feel like it's meaningful work, you know. Some of you have a calling that you're following. Some of you are looking for investors. Some of you are looking to hire kind of analysts, editors, project managers, or people that are very good at problem solving and figuring things out. Maybe that's you, Aquarius. Maybe those kind of lists of qualities or skills that I've listed are more aligned with the reason that you're so in demand. But this might be your thing, you know. This truly might be. I'm just after noticing that this Emperor has this is kind of interesting. Am I seeing this right? This Emperor has a prosthetic leg. One of them. Okay, what does that say? What the heck? Resilience, I suppose. You know, not letting setbacks affect their success or their self-esteem. Okay, so that's very resilient of you, I guess. The 8 of Pentacles just tells me that June is set to be a continuously busy month, where it may sometimes feel, worst case scenario, like you're putting out fires as you go, or you're troubleshooting and things are cropping up. On a more kind of optimistic note, it just seems like things are running busy, but making strides and transformation, and things are getting done essentially and taking a lot more shape. And it's probably looking like some more a focus on you and your efforts this month, okay? Chariot card. All right, so if you're still with me at this point, let's clear up the Chariot and be conscious, if you will, of making sure you're subscribed. Comment, like, share if you wish. I would definitely appreciate that. And if this is all you're sticking around for, thanks for watching, thanks for joining me today. But I will be moving on to another reading for your sign, which I'll link down below. You'll also find that 6-month overview going all the way up to October down below. And I did another reading for Aquarius pretty recently, and it was looking at May and June as well. So there's definitely a lot of content there for you. Let's look at the Chariot. You have got the Hermit, but it's reversed, and the Queen of Cups. Okay. You know, I actually think this is a little bit more about your personal life. I think that by the end of June, there is a desire for you to, because we're in Gemini season and it's kind of going to be coming to a close towards the 3rd week of June, there's a certain truth that needs to be spoken. There's a kind of coming out of hiding with the Hermit in the reverse. It's like you have thought long and hard about a situation that needs to be addressed, be it with an Aries or not, or a Virgo or not. There is a certain situation that needs to be spoken about at this point. You need to, if you wish, I guess, Hermit card is in reversal is always an invitation to think about where we're spending too much time just thinking about it or analyzing it to death, almost overthinking. The Hermit card in reverse is now requiring some action or some sort of a stepping out of this more reclusive, hidden, closeted sort of energy. And the Queen of Wands, she doesn't mince her words and she's very direct, and I think that the Queen of Wands is a bit about a no-nonsense approach with this, and I think it's more to do with a personal issue, like something to do with a relationship, with a colleague though, even, you know, it could even just be like a personal relationship more at work or at school or in your business partnerships, but it also of course can be family and what's going on there. Family, friendships and whatnot. I see it a little bit less as who you're dating, but maybe a husband or wife could come through as well. You're going to have a lot of success here, Aquarius. I think that this shouldn't be something that you continue to shy away from. It seems like you're ready to face this challenge head on. It might not even be super challenging. Whenever we see the Chariot, we are seeing a point of readiness. Incubation phase is over. Let's kind of put that out there now. Overall, you have been in this era of getting ready to put out there or to make concrete and to take up some more space. Sometimes we think that, you know, oh, I need to do another class, I need to learn more, I need more experience. Sometimes you just have to really, you know, baptism of fire, pioneer something. We have a strong Aries signature here, as well as a strong Virgo signature here. And like with Aries energy, it's pioneering, it's starting off, it's a great sort of let's get going, let's take the lead, let's be fearless and brave. And the Virgo side of things is just telling me, like, you have pretty much made this perfect. Like, you've pretty much thought about it at every angle, and you know, this could be applying to both your career professional goals or the sort of personal goals you have at the moment, as well as matters in your personal life that need addressing in a sort of more direct way. We'll look more into this, of course, but thank you so much for watching, Aquarius, and I'll see you soon.